Hey there and welcome. So, you're getting ready for the Tamil Nadu Teacher Eligibility Test. And let's be honest, that syllabus can look a little overwhelming. But don't you worry, we're going to break it all down piece by piece and turn that whole document into a super clear blueprint for your success. Okay, let's dive right into the master plan for the exam. It's all broken down into four main parts. The first three, everyone has to take them. You've got child development and pedagogy, language 1 and language 2, and each one is worth 30 marks. But then you get to part 4. This is the big one, a massive 60-mark section where you choose your specialty, either mathematics and science or social science. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start with the big picture, the exam blueprint itself. Then we'll dig into the foundation of teaching, which is all about pedagogy. After that, we'll talk about your tools of communication, your area of expertise, and finally, tie it all together with building your future. First up, let's zoom out and really get a handle on the overall blueprint. Before we get into all the specific subjects, it's absolutely crucial to understand the high-level rules of the game. So, what's the magic number you need to remember? It's 150. You're going to face 150 multiple-choice questions, and the total score is, you guessed it, 150 marks. That means it's 1 mark for every question. Simple, right? But it also means every single one counts. There's no room to slack off. Each question is a fresh opportunity. Now, here's a detail that you really need to pay attention to. The topics themselves, they're pulled straight from the middle school curriculum for classes 6, 7, and 8. But, and this is a big but, the questions they ask about those topics will be at a higher secondary level. So what does that mean? Well, it means you can't just memorize facts. For instance, a middle school question might ask you for a date in history. The higher level question, though, will ask you to analyze the consequences of what happened on that date. See the difference? It's all about a deeper, more analytical understanding. All right, let's move on to what I think is the absolute foundation of all great teaching, really understanding your students. And that brings us to the child development and pedagogy section. Pedagogy is really just a fancy word for the method and practice of teaching, and this section is required for a reason. It is the very heart of what it means to be a teacher. This part is all about the how and the why of teaching kids in that 11 to 14 age range. It's broken down into 10 units that cover, well, everything, from the core theories of child development from big names like Piaget and Vygotsky to understanding intelligence, fostering creativity, and tackling modern pedagogical concerns. One of the key ideas that the syllabus really highlights is inclusive education. And this tells you so much about the philosophy behind the entire exam. It shows that being a fantastic teacher isn't just about being an expert in your subject. It's about being able to create a classroom where every single child, no matter their needs, feels like they belong and can truly thrive. Next up, we have the essential tools that every single teacher needs in their toolkit: language and communication. Language I, which will be your regional language, and Language 2, English, are both required sections for every candidate, and they each carry 30 marks. And this slide right here, it perfectly illustrates the kind of growth the syllabus expects you to be able to teach. Look at Class 6. The focus is on basic stuff, like understanding the main point. But by Class 8, whoa, students are expected to use higher-order skills. We're talking about moving way beyond just remembering things to analyzing an author's purpose, inferring what's not being said, and even creating their own original arguments. You need to know this whole journey, inside and out. All right, we have covered the foundation and we have talked about the tools. Now it's time to build the main structure. This is where you get to pick your path and really show off your deep knowledge in the subject you love. Now, I want you to pay very close attention to this number because it is, by far, the most important one for your specialization. This single section is worth a massive 60 marks. That's 40% of your entire score. How you perform right here is going to have a huge, huge impact on your final result. So, you've got a major choice to make here, a real fork in the road. You can go down the path of mathematics and science, getting into things like number systems, algebra, forces, and the structure of atoms. Or you can choose the path of social science and explore the incredible story of human society with topics like the Indus civilization, the Mughal empire, geology, and the principles of democracy. So let's put all of these pieces of the puzzle together. We've looked at the structure, the foundation, the tools, and your expertise. What does this blueprint actually mean for you as a future educator in Tamil Nadu? You see, the entire syllabus follows this really clear, logical path. First, you master the foundation. how kids actually learn with pedagogy. Next, you hone your tools for actually getting that knowledge across through language. And then, finally, you build your unique structure right on top of all that with your deep subject expertise. It all fits together. And that brings us to probably the most important takeaway of all. Please try not to see this syllabus as just a giant checklist of topics you have to memorize. Think of it as a roadmap. It's a guide that's been designed to help you develop the core skills, the core competencies that you need to be an effective, well-rounded, and truly modern teacher. And that leaves us with one final thought to really chew on. When you look at the whole picture, this heavy emphasis on child psychology, on mastering communication, and on deep subject expertise, what kind of classroom is this blueprint ultimately trying to build? What does it say about the future of education in Tamil Nadu? Something to think about. I wish you the very best with your preparation.